this month where we will be speaking about ADHD at work. So yesterday we talked about setting a new standard in business, very much related to the workplace. And today we're going to start talking about our ADHD entrepreneurs. And the title of this particular webinar, what we're going to be speaking about is that boundaries build businesses. So very lucky and happy to have Yvonne Duggan here, who is one of our coaches. So Yvonne, welcome.
Hey, thank you very much. Delighted to be here. And this is boundaries, I think, are just the cornerstone of really successfully working with ADHD. So I'm just, delighted, excited.
Yeah, it's really important, isn't it, to have this discussion. And firstly, Yvonne, why do you think we have so many entrepreneur clients that we coach with ADHD? How does ADHD, would you say, lend itself to entrepreneurship?
Oh my goodness. I mean, there are so many of the strengths. So many of the strengths of ADHD are evident in entrepreneurs. And that is, just that creativity, that passion. I mean, we are just passion people, right? And it's passion and interest and purpose. And that's what entrepreneurs bring in abundance, is a belief in something, a passion. And then it's that amazing ability to be able to have all of these different things going on, right? And to see all of these different things and pull them together. That's what's really so special. I think, one of the really special skills within ADHD that we have is just being that perspective and being able to see how that can join to that and this works with that. I mean, it's just amazing. And you fuel that with passion. That's one of the main reasons we've so many entrepreneurs and risk takers, right? When risk is well managed, and well channeled, not afraid to take those risks and not afraid to be that kind of, that lone ranger and just do it our way. And that's ADHD working well.
Yeah. And again, yes, you're right. It very much lends itself to so many possibilities, isn't it? ADHD is, right? The brains fire up, ignite, with opportunities and possibilities, synergies as well, right? And create, like you said, creativity, being able to have that variety as well. Like when you're a small business owner, it's not just this, the actual service that you're providing, but you get to try your hand at a bit of marketing, content creation. There's so many different things. Like you never get bored, right? And
no, absolutely never get bored. And so many entrepreneurs that we'll see will know a bit about this and know a bit about that. And it's really about pulling a lot of that together, and exactly love being able to do all those other things. That's really where this topic comes into its own then, right? Because it's about the boundaries, building business, that you can only bring a business so far when you're dabbling, doing all of those things. And that really gets it off the ground. It's then the next level. That's when, the boundaries become really important.
Yeah. So why are boundaries so hard, would you say, for, entrepreneurs with ADHD? What have you seen with the clients that you coach?
Oh, do you know what? I think that there's a number of reasons I think boundaries are challenging. And part of it is at the heart of ADHD, right? Because it's that passion drives. So there's a real energy with people with ADHD, right? And so that energy is really moving people forward. Impulsivity, it's like, yeah, just do it, right? Let's just do it. And so it's, not having, I suppose, that pause button there on tap that you can go, oh, hold on, maybe I'll just need to think about this. So that is one of the, the impulsivity that's there. There's then also some of the other traps that ADHD can fall into around emotional regulation. And it's just not necessary. And in part, it can be that people pleasing of just saying, yes, I can, can, yes, I will, because there's some value attached to outcome, our own personal value attached to outcome. And so just feel endlessly we can do. There is that sense we genuinely feel we can do so much because we can,
Yeah.
but it's also just that feeling that we should, because not knowing where other people are able to pause and go, that's too much, I'm not doing that. We just keep going because
Yes.
we feel we should, because of stories perhaps from childhood of why are you doing it that way? That kind of little bit of self-doubt. So they're kind of some of the traps then that we start to move into with ADHD.
Yeah, it is. It's like the perfect storm, isn't it, of the executive function challenges, the time blindness, the difficulty planning and prioritizing. As you know, a lot of our clients that have got their own businesses, they come to us, there ain't no plans. There's not, there's really a lack of clarity over what the priorities are. And the problem is, again, this is why boundaries are so important. If you don't, measure, if you don't plan and kind of have those priorities set for, say, the quarter, then when you get these opportunities, when these things come across your plate, like you said, the people pleasing, entrepreneurs will say yes. And quite often there's already too much on the agenda. There's too much on their plate. And so that just tips them over.
And it can also, what I would also see, it's that sense, there's that little bit of task shifting, that once they get into that hyper focus mode, nothing else is out here, and so just keep moving ahead with something, and then that creates its own issues, both within personal life but also within the business, and growing it. So there's amazing traits that entrepreneurs bring very naturally to ADHD, but there's some of those trappings that, without the boundaries, without that awareness, can very easily fall into.
Yeah, it's and it's such a shame as well, because obviously ADHDers with their passion, innovation, creativity, the startup phase is great, and they've got the drive, but it's when it comes to creating the systems, particularly as this grows, when it comes to when you have to take on people, a lot of ADHD entrepreneurs, they're visionaries, but they aren't. Some of them are not the best managers. And so, you've got all this work, and so therefore you need that team. But if that ADHD, like you said, the hyper focus, another idea, another, initiative that the ADHD entrepreneur will go and the team.
And it's being on the right team.
Yeah.
The right team is so important, because they've got to build people around them that support and understand that type of passion that they have, and allow it, right? Allow it, and don't, that it doesn't get stifled, but at the same time, it's like creates the scaffolding in the right way around them, so that who will be good at the planning, the organizing. I mean, even down to having, a good PA is gold, right? It's gold.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we delegation. It's so important, isn't it, to, as an ADHD entrepreneur, business owner, to know what your strengths are, but equally more important to know the things that maybe you should stay away from, things that are not your wheelhouse, things where if you do try and take that on, it's not going to go as it should. And particularly what we've seen, I'm not sure if you've seen the same thing, but when it comes to financial management, so financial management, that kind of day-to-day operational management, building the processes and the systems, the ADHD kind of entrepreneur visionary, it's much harder for them to do. They're not going to prioritize that, but these are things that need to be prioritized. Otherwise, there could be no business. And a lot of ADHD entrepreneurs, business owners, unfortunately, their businesses do fail when they don't, set boundaries around that and step out and get someone suitable to cover those things.
Yeah, and it just feeds so much into that interdependence concept that we talk about, right? That it's, people who in general with ADHD, and particularly I think, with entrepreneurs, are fiercely independent. and really relish being independent and don't like to be told what to do. And so there's that balance between accepting, and this is where, I'm coaching, it's really around kind of the awareness, building awareness around yourself, your strengths, how you operate, the acceptance of that, accepting, actually, I'm really bad at time. I'm actually just not really good. I'm like, when it comes to finance, I'm not going to be disciplined enough. So I'm going to need support there. And that allows to move into action, because then once you've got that awareness and the acceptance of that, you move into action. And that's where you start to identify, well, what are the boundaries? You may not term them boundaries, but that's what they are. That's going to help you, to perform and to really build and channel what you're good at, and let others, without getting tripped up by that emotional dysregulation of feeling, being defensive because I can't do something, or feeling that it's a failing in some way.
Yeah, it is.
It's
It's key.
balance.
Yeah, and that's that rejection sensitive dysphoria again,
Mhm.
very much getting in the way, like you said, the people pleasing. So, and that fear of missing out, fear of losing interest as well. So, and
Yeah.
more.
Oh, yeah, and I hear that because somebody, client coaching who was moving forward, this with an idea, one of in the back of their head all the time was this fear of, will I stick with it? Will I stick with it?
Yes,
You
actually, that's
know,
one, isn't
yeah,
it? Yeah, they don't trust themselves.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's and very often that voice that's speaking, will I stick with that, is actually the stories from before of where they've moved off and tried different things, and there's judgment for trying so many different things, when in fact that's a really good thing. It's a thing to celebrate, and you find the passion drives you into what's going to work.
And that's your serial entrepreneur, right?
Mm,
That's the ones that, they start this business, then I might, like you said, okay, I've done this now. I know I can do this. I'm going to create this other business, or, buying and kind of selling businesses. I see that type of ADHD doing that type of thing.
yeah, yeah,
There's
yeah,
that flip.
absolutely.
Mm,
Yeah, and so the boundaries then that are needed,
yes.
come from that awareness.
Mm. And I found as well, would you say as well, business partnerships? That's another really messy, very risky, very can also end in a lot of grief, actually, partnerships. Because again, what I've seen with a lot of ADHD entrepreneurs that go into business partnerships, they're not very good at setting expectations clearly and early, because the people
Mhm,
pleasing. They're just so
mhm,
grateful and so excited to have a body double, right? That's got,
mhm,
the energy, or maybe they're kind of providing executive function skills, that the ADHD entrepreneur doesn't have. And so there's just this willingness and kind of trust that's all going to work out. And unfortunately, I don't know about you, but I've seen many of those break down because there wasn't
mhm.
that at the beginning, getting really clear, on roles, responsibilities, expectations,
Yeah,
remuneration, contributions. Yeah,
yeah.
it's that
It
optimistic factor doesn't always work.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, and it requires a lot of self-awareness on behalf of the entrepreneur, or anybody with ADHD, and that is the key, and that's what coaching obviously brings, is really starting to build that their own self-awareness and acceptance around, it's okay that I bring this passion and I wanna go now and I wanna steamroll straight into doing this. But it's, being cognizant of those around, and as you say, managing those expectations, and part of really setting those boundaries, is about learning to pause and hold and go, "Well, what do I need here?"
Yeah.
Um, and that's really where the coaching kind of just allows that space to really just reflect, because there's so many amazing traits and amazing parts of ADHD that bring success. And we know disproportionately business leaders and entrepreneurs have ADHD, right? They're neurodivergent. We know that disproportionately. So there's a lot that's right. Right now, it's about and the boundaries and doing that through coaching really helps you to manage that, hone that in, build that
Yes,
awareness about those around you, build an ecosystem that's going to work.
definitely.
But self-awareness is really where it has to start, and then you can start to build those boundaries, and they're like the guardrails
Yeah.
to bring you through and for success.
Absolutely. Yeah, we need those again to keep ourselves out of our own way, to stop ourselves from self-sabotaging.
Mhm.
So, in terms of what would you say in terms of building these better boundaries? How can entrepreneurs start doing that for themselves?
Well, as I said, the first thing, it really starts at awareness. One of the, I think, the most important parts of ADHD is getting out of your own head, right? Because so much is stored up in here because we can, but it doesn't always serve. So, you know, being able to self-reflect, to be able to see, okay, these are the areas that I'm really good at, and these are the areas that I'm not. This is the support that I would need, and accepting that that's okay. Sometimes that's the hardest part,
Yeah.
right? Is accepting. I don't have to be great at all of these things, and also fighting against that nature to be that lone ranger.
Mm. Yes.
Right? So starting to accept that that's the starting point, and verbalizing, discussing these, and that's, coaching allows that forum to do that in a very non-judgmental way. Um, and I've had, entrepreneurs, of one who comes to mind, and I remember him just saying, this is the first time when our coaching session, this is the first time I can actually lay all this out on the table
Mm.
and
Yeah.
not feel judged for it, for my shortcomings, but appreciated for the strengths, right? So that's the first place, really, as I think about that self-awareness. And then, okay, so is it impulsivity that's going to get in your way? Okay, so then it's starting to build in, what is it we need to do, the mechanisms, the circuit breaks to get the pause, to take a breath.
Mm.
That's hugely important. And part of those boundaries, I think, also start at a very base level of energy management.
Yes, yeah, that's a big because yeah, if you don't have the energy, which obviously entrepreneurs burning the candle and burning out, because they're not preserving their energy.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and again, that does come into that self-awareness, of realizing, I'm not Superman, Superwoman. I actually need sleep. I need
Yeah.
food.
Hmm.
My hyper focus is a boundary. I need somebody to come take me out of this hyper focus that I go into, to remind me there's life out there and I need to eat.
Exactly.
Eat
Yeah,
and move, right? And not get stuck in this. So it's, it's that awareness about yourself is the first place to start for boundaries.
definitely. No, thank you. It's so it is. Hopefully, you can see now why. Yeah, absolutely. If you are an entrepreneur with ADHD, a business owner with ADHD, do not do it alone. Right? Just
Mm,
it's not a good idea. We're not good alone. We're just not, and we can do things for others we can't do for ourselves. And
mhm,
coaching, as you said, Yvonne, is that self, reflective place, non-judgmental, and it kind of
mhm.
forces you to carve out space, step out of the whirlwind of the day to day, because
Yeah.
that's, we need to set that boundary first and
Mhm.
foremost, to carve out space from the whirlwind to
Mm,
get clear.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and because you're not actually going to be able to set any other boundaries without carving out that space. And the coaching, space provides a fantastic, forum to do that. And we're really excited. As of January, we are going to be creating our Ascend Entrepreneurs Program community. And that's going to help entrepreneurs, small business owners be able to carve out space on a regular basis to do the quarterly planning, to do that self-awareness work. So learn about the ADHD, but then in the context of a community of like-minded entrepreneurs that have the same challenges, and be able to help each other, and hold each other accountable, and together creating those systems that your business are going to need to keep that running and to keep you working in your area of unique brilliance, which is, as the business owner, the visionary, you need to be there fanning that flame, right? Like
absolutely.
that engine, right? It's
absolutely. And if there's one thing that people with ADHD and entrepreneurs with ADHD feed from is energy, and energy from other people as well. And so that, the Ascend entrepreneur community will create that and support that.
Yeah, no, it's going to be great. So do get in touch for further details, get you down on the list, and we can't wait to support you. So hopefully this was helpful. And actually tomorrow we're going back to workplace. We're talking about navigating performance reviews, something that I guess another reason why ADHD is going to entrepreneurship. So
yes, yeah. By default,
yeah. Even, us ADHD business owners, probably more than most, we do need performance reviews so that we can also adjust and be held accountable, which is why, again, the coaching kind of forms, it is akin to a bit of a performance review in terms of creating that space for you to review your own performance. That's key.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, otherwise, when do you get that time to reflect? Because left to our own devices, there is no way, and an ADHD person just stops of their own accord.
No.
I'll reflect in my head. Doesn't happen. So absolutely creates that form. Yeah.
I can tell you this personally, obviously having our own businesses, and but definitely professionally with everyone we've coached. So we'll love to help you get out of your own way. So join us tomorrow for navigating performance reviews, and then Thursday we're going to be speaking to the creative desk, and we're going to be talking about the importance of delegation. So particularly for the small business owners, entrepreneurs, do attend that one because that is key. It's a key boundary we need to set. So thank you for listening, and we will see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Thanks, Yvonne.
Hey, thank you, Steph. Thank you.